Welcome to Europe, but are we in the Eurozone or the European Union or both? Well, let's break down the basics of how these countries are connected. Europe, as you probably already know, is a continent. Within this continent, a bunch of countries came together after World War II to form what we now call the European Union. Well, it all started back in 1958 with 6 countries that wanted to form deeper and closer economic ties. Then it spread. Now 28 countries are part of the European Union, which for short is often referred to as the EU. They work together on economic issues such as trade, migration, human rights and also the environment. Within the European Union, you have also the Eurozone. This is what is sometimes referred to as the Euro area. These are countries that have taken a bold step of coming together to share their own money, their currency, the euro, which makes these nations even more integrated. But some governments boast stronger economies than others as well. And that means that when weak countries run into trouble, the stronger ones generally have to come to the rescue. Well, that's your tour through Europe, the EU, and also the Eurozone. Don't get lost.
Turing process starts the works at 3 years ago, more or less, and the main aim is to promote the implementation of the European Social Charter in the Council of Europe member states. Why? Because there are some countries where not ratified European Social Charter, the revised European Social Charter, and there are a lot of countries with some reserves in some articles of the revised European Social Charter. And we have to improve our relationship with the European Social Charter because it's the main tool in order to promote the social rights in Europe. And we have to put in our agenda this issue because sometimes the social rights in this economical crisis decrease the rights in our society, and we have to be awareness in this issue. We can find the respect of the right of the health for all citizens. We can find the labor rights for all citizens. Well, we have to find different rights that we should respect and we should promote in our societies. And the European Social Charter is a good tool in order to find this. The main recommendation, in my opinion, is the role of the parliamentarians in the national countries, in the national parliaments, because they should to promote the European Social Charter in the different countries, and in this, with this work we can increase the rights, and we can increase the effect of the European Social Charter in the different countries. we should to improve the role of the parliamentarians. The parliamentarians need to be more involved in these issues and use the European Social Charter as a tool and promotes to the different governments the implementation.
What Venice Commission services are available to governments?
Basically, we give a democratic rubber stamp on the constitutions or other fundamental laws, of course, if they are worth it. We analyze these pieces of legislation against international standards and give our opinions on them. We also give legal solutions to political problems, let's say.
What are the key factors which explain why governments use the services provided by the Venice Commission?
I would say that the fact that the Venice Commission is impartial and non-political. It's an impartial and non-political institution. We base our opinions on internationally recognized legal instruments. We are objective in our conclusions and recommendations. We also try to put the laws into their historical and political context. We do not impose our solutions. We engage in a constructive and free dialogue with national authorities.
The Venice Commission is composed of constitutional and international law experts, Supreme or Constitutional Court judges, and members of national parliaments. How are they selected?
They are selected by their governments, but they have to be guided in their selection by the Article 2 of our statute, which says that our members are independent experts which acquired their eminence either through their contribution in building democratic institutions or in their advancement of law or political science back home.
What would you point to as the main achievements of the Venice Commission since it was established in 1990?
One could say that we have acquired a status of an indispensable partner in building democracy through law in Europe. And not only in Europe, actually, but also worldwide. We have 57 member states, so 10 non-European member states. And the population that we cover with our expertise is 1.3 billion people. Otherwise, if we use statistics, 400 opinions and 80 studies could be considered as an achievement. 7,000 cases from 100 courts worldwide in our codices database is also something to be proud of.
Does the Venice Commission find it a natural home at the Council of Europe?
Absolutely, because the standards that we use in our opinions are basically the Council of Europe hard law, the European Convention on Human Rights, but also soft law. You could say, as an example, I could give the ECRI recommendations, the reports of the Framework Convention on Protection of Minorities and others, of course.
Looking forward, how do you see the Venice Commission developing over the next decade?
Mm-hmm. First of all, of course, consolidating our action in Europe. Democracy is not something which is, let's say, completely figé, as they say. It's a concept which moves